Alright, let's check on my Dustborn video. Thank you guys for all the support on the last video. I really enjoyed making it, and I apologize about the time between the last video and this one. This isn't the type of video I wanted to make as a follow-up, but I got so upset at this game, I just had to talk about it. I'm going to be talking about Apex Legends this time. I know, I can hear all of you groaning right now, but just hear me out. I got a lot to say, and I want someone to hear it that isn't this guy for the 400th time. I've been playing Apex Legends since it came out. In fact, the earliest screenshot I have of Apex is this one right here, of me getting the Jump Master achievement on my PlayStation 4 back in March of 2019. This screenshot in particular was from the day before Season 1's launch. This game has been my go-to game ever since I got my PlayStation. I used to play this game with my friends all the time, dropping in, getting kills, and getting wins. I amassed over 2,500 hours on just PlayStation alone, and that's not even counting Steam. With Steam included, it's over 2.7 thousand. I witnessed the highs and I've witnessed the lows, and this is one of the lowest lows of all time. Player numbers are down by an astronomical amount, and with everybody else complaining, I only saw it fit to throw my opinions out there and let y'all hear me rant for however long this video is going to be. I don't know. I'm going to be going section by section through a list I have and talk about my gripes I have with this game. I'm not going to delve into ranked too much because I don't feel I have the authority to talk about it compared to some more professional players. I have achieved Masters once, but it was in Season 17 when there was no rank split and I ratted. No, I'm not afraid to admit that because I wanted the badge for decorative purposes only. I acknowledge full well I am not a Masters level player. I have also achieved Diamond twice for both splits of Season 23. However, this was when 3 stacking supports was meta. Did we do it? Absolutely. Mained Conduit, loved every second. Each main section will feature a title card, and each subsection within each section I'll mark with a text header in the top right corner of the screen so you know where we're at within each section. I'll try to put chapters in the video timeline so you can jump to a particular section if you want. But to start, first, I want to talk about the Battle Pass system. Apex Legends released their first Battle Pass in Season 1, and it was as simple as you could imagine. 100 tiers, over 100 rewards, and free and premium tiers, yada yada yada. They redid the Battle Pass in Season 2 to include some better rewards for those players who bought the premium tiers. Well, and I know this is old news, but they decided to redo the Battle Pass system, so now instead of the free and paid tiers, there's now free, premium, and premium plus, both of which had to be paid for with actual money. No longer do they take the microtransaction currency, Apex coins. This is very stupid for obvious reasons, the largest of which is that it discriminates from the people who casually play the game, the people who don't shell out money every single time a new item drops. These are the same people that use the coins they earn from the current Battle Pass to purchase the next Battle Pass. With this new system, it completely eradicates the whole idea and forces you to shell out a whole Hamilton every single month and a half for just the regular paid version, and that's not even including what's now called Ultimate Plus, which gives you everything in the regular paid version and then adds on, get this, 2 extra skins that aren't even subscription exclusive, some Apex packs, crafting medals, and all the legends if you don't have them. That's like Epic saying, hey guys, you spent $12 a month on Fortnite Crew for a skin unique to the subscription and all the passes, but now your skins that we promised were unique to the pass are now going to be resold in the item shop. Sorry. And that's not even including the cherry on top of this abomination of a sundae. They split the Battle Pass in 2, making 2 Battle Passes every season, 1 for each split. In combination with the previous changes, that means you have to pay for each pass with regular, real-world currency, not the tokens, and you have to do it twice a season if you want the full Battle Pass experience. So that effectively doubles the price of the pass from $10 to $20 for the regular version, and $20 to $40 for Ultimate Plus. Like seriously, what were they thinking? The community ended up getting so upset about this, for obviously good reason, and they reverted the change to where you couldn't use Apex coins, which is really good that they listened to the community, but I don't know how this got approved by literally any department with common sense. But then again, this is EA we're talking about, so common sense when money is at stake is thrown out the window anyway. The next topic in regards to the Battle Pass I wanted to talk about was the challenges and the level grind. It is painfully slow and difficult for no reason. The challenges take forever and require serious dedication to complete. Some give you the option of doing them in Battle Royale, which halves the non-Battle Royale mode or just mixtape, but the amount they expect you to do in non-Battle Royale is insane. I can understand like AR damage, SMG damage, shotgun damage. Those are all guns you'd realistically use in mixtape, but marksman kills, sniper damage, they expect you to do so much with it. Sniper damage, 5,000. LMG damage, 10,000. SMG damage, 15,000. I just wish these damage requirements were lower because this feels like such an outrageous amount, even for mixtape. And then we have the battle stars. Oh my lord, the battle stars. It takes 5,000 XP in order to get 1 battle star, and you need 10 to go up 1 level in the battle pass. So you need 50,000 XP just to go up 1 tier earlier in the battle pass, pretty much forcing you to do the challenges. So let's say you're like me, unemployed, and you play the game enough to do the challenges and level up the pass. When you're out of challenges to do, you have to mindlessly grind the XP ladder, playing either Battle Royale, which is boring without any content over the last year, and then Mixtape, which doesn't even give you enough anyway, since XP is mostly based on survival time, not kills and damage. You'd think in a game mode like TDM, which is based on kills, you wouldn't earn 50 XP a kill. Like, this is ridiculous. To emphasize my point, I played one match of big TDM and only used the flatline. You'll see why I did this here in a minute, but look at my XP for this match. I survived almost 6 minutes, because that's how long the match went on for, and got 1000 XP from that. Remember, this is in a game mode where kills matter, not survival time. I got 4 kills in this match. Now, for the record, I don't play on PC often, so I didn't do as well as I usually do on my PlayStation 5, but for my 4 kills and 1.6 thousand damage, I got a combined 285. That's it. In a game mode revolving around kills and damage, I got 285 XP for getting 4 kills and 1.6k damage. Ridiculous. The last thing I want to talk about is the weapon leveling system. Oh my lord, this thing was awful. First, let's look at Black Ops 6. In BO6, you level up your guns by using them, getting kills, damaging opponents, you know, gun stuff. In some previous games, you had to do some pretty obscure challenges, long shot kills, kills while crouched, kills while prone. It wouldn't surprise me if they made you get 15 kills with an XM4 while diving off the World Trade Center. And when you level up your guns, you earn special rewards for your guns, mastery camos being the main item. You'd think Apex would integrate something so similar, something so well received by the COD community. Well, you thought wrong. You don't earn weapon XP from getting kills, you earn it by holding the weapons. That's right, people, holding your guns gives you more XP than using them for their intended purpose. Spectacular job, Respawn. Let's all give them a round of applause. And to add insult to injury, the XP you do get by holding them is so minimal, it's not even funny. Remember that one match of big TDM I played and how I said I only used the flatline? Well, this is why. Because for that whole match, I held the flatline, shot the flatline, and got kills with the flatline. I got a whole 331 XP. And that would be fine if the actual amount you needed to go up a level wasn't the same amount as Google owes Russia in fines. And here, if we look at the flatline XP breakdown from the match I played, I got 128 XP from holding it, 107 from 4 kills, 80 from 1.6k damage, and 16 from hitting headshots. They sort of fixed this in the recent update, updating all of the weapon trials to be more consistent with actually just using the weapons rather than some weird obscure challenge like kill 5 prowlers with the prowler. So I guess it's a little better compared to what it was before. However, I do think the rewards you do earn are still pretty bad. Once you complete all the trials for one gun, you earn the coveted, the amazing, one guaranteed legendary pack for that gun, some trackers, and a badge. And you get to do that 28 more times. Complete all 5 trials for all 29 guns. You earn a banner frame that doesn't even look that good. Way to go, Respawn. Good job. All the jokes and sarcasm aside, this is a horrible system. Holding your gun should not give you more XP than actually using the gun in a match. And the rewards should be better because this is just laughable. There just isn't anything to grind for. What's the point? So I can say, ha, I use the R3 more than you. No, that's pointless. The Battle Pass rework, now that we've seen it in action for a few seasons, I have to say I don't hate it. It does give you more rewards for your money and overall is packed with more high quality rewards. I'm happy they listened to the community and made the Apex coin change, but after that point, it doesn't feel like they've listened to the community all too much. But I would like it if the challenges for leveling up your battle pass was different. Fortnite does it perfectly. You just play the game, earn XP, and your account level is tied to your battle pass level. Level up your battle pass as you play. It's perfectly done. I wish Apex would just implement something just like this. Next, I want to talk about the legends in this game, specifically the lack thereof. And when I mean the lack of new legends, from Season 1 to Season 15, from Octane to Catalyst, we've had a new legend every single season. Then in Season 16, they didn't add a new one, marking the first time in a new season they didn't add a new legend. Instead, they promised more content in return, which they delivered. We got a new class system, making the legends more defined to an actual role, rather than just loosely fitting some class. Also adding class passives, like controller legends being able to use ring consoles or recon legends using survey beacons. They They added Team Deathmatch and Mixtape, they added the Nemesis, and a lot more balance changes overall. However, this feels like it started something. I feel like after seeing the reception Season 16 got with the new additions, it gave them an excuse to not implement new legends into the game. Now, I don't think adding a new legend every season is good either, because if they did that all the way up until now, the roster would be oversaturated in my opinion. Comparing this game to games like Marvel Rivals or Rainbow Six Siege isn't fair either, because this game is fundamentally different. Marvel Rivals is a 6v6 class shooter, Siege is a 5v5 tactical first-person shooter, Apex Legends is a 60-player hero-based battle royale on teams of 3. Marvel Rivals gives you the ability to pick from so many characters because they all work together on a team of 6 so well. Same with Siege, you can pick from one of 74 operators because there's a larger team. In Apex, you have 3 people, and those 3 people need to work well in a battle royale format, not some arcadey type of game. All the legends need to be balanced well in order to make everything smooth. That's hard to do with so many characters. If Respawn added a new legend every season from launch, we'd be at 32 legends right now, and balancing that would be a nightmare. So I'm not opposed to them taking breaks with legends, but we need something in between to simulate the lack of such a major piece of the game, and that segues to my next point. In Season 18, they decided to not make a new legend, but instead rework an old one into something different and call that a new legend. Revenant went from a character who shut down abilities with a silence bomb and a death totem granting the user's death protection for a short time, to a character who has a leap for his tactical and a shield that gives him 50 extra health as his ultimate. My major gripe with this is the fact that it feels like they expect us to believe that this is just as impressive as a new legend. To me, it isn't. Revenants I was mostly on board with because, let's face it, he was kind of garbage before. Now he isn't actually that bad, but this Lifeline one last season, I can't get on board with this, I'm sorry. Lifeline before Season 23 was like the 2nd or 3rd most played legend. Then they decided she needs a rework. What? You don't rework a character unless they have a horrific pick rate and other legends do the job better. But Lifeline didn't need that at all. They didn't even do that much in the grand scheme of things. Her passive is still the same, being able to revive people remotely with tap res and still fight. The only thing they did was add it so she can now glide with her dock drone? Okay? Her tactical is also the same thing, only thing is now you can assign it to people and have it follow them. And her ult is just a large wall with fast heal. Are you serious? We're accepting this as actual new legends now? This isn't new at all. All they did was change her ult, everything else is the same with added little quality of life changes that she needed to begin with. Leaks indicate that Fuse is next on the list for reworks. I can't give you the validity of this, but let's just say it's true. Honestly, I don't know how to feel. He's in a good spot now. He's not overused and he's not underused either, but I don't want to harp on the leaks for too long because that's not what this video is about. I don't hate the fact that they're taking breaks from adding new legends because if they did, it would be too difficult to balance all the characters. What I do have a problem with is the reworks. Whole seasons should not be dedicated to one rework of one legend. It feels like a lazy cop-out for a season because you ran out of ideas. You easily could do multiple legend reworks or a new legend and a rework at the same time. Instead, we're doing a whole new season around a new ultimate for a character that didn't need it. But whatever, there's more important things to talk about. Events in Apex have been around since Season 2, with the first real event being the Iron Crown event introducing Bloodhound's Heirloom. The fact that you had to pay $35 on top of the $170 you had to spend in order to be able to unlock it was stupid, but they changed that extremely quickly since the outcry was absurd. There's a few types of events in Apex: collection events, craft or buy every skin in the event to unlock X for free; thematic events, same premise as collection events, except the skins come to the crafting section after the event ends; and milestone events, open packs to gamble for the skins and items you want. I'm only going to dive into one, and that's because I really don't like them, and that's milestone events. Because the other two, while pricey, aren't as bad as milestone events. Milestone events are events in Apex Legends where a set amount of cosmetics are only unlockable through purchasing overpriced packs related to the event, and in order to unlock the coveted item in the event, usually an heirloom or something, you have to buy all the packs. Each pack has a % chance of dropping certain items, and you need to gamble in order to try and get the item you want. Take last year's Christmas event for an example, the Winter's Haunt milestone event. In this event, there was 30 cosmetics, all locked behind a paywall. If you wanted any of the items in this event, you had to gamble for them. You have a 22.5% chance of opening a legendary item from the event, and less than a 75% chance of opening an epic item. If you want the reactive Hemlock skin that's included with this event, you need to be really lucky, with it only having a 2.5% chance of dropping. And if you want the Bloodhound Heirloom recolor, you need to be extremely lucky because it is less than 1% of dropping. Do I know the actual percentage? No, they don't disclose that, only that it is less than 1%. This is extremely stupid. It promotes gambling and doesn't allow for direct purchase of anything past the legendary legend skins. Everything else you have to gamble for. Collection events and thematic events allow the players to craft the skins with crafting metals, allowing them to get any item for free, instead of having to shell out $18 for a skin. But with this, you are forced to gamble because EA's money hungry and won't have it any other way. And they can also get away with claiming that this is free too, because you can also purchase packs with crafting metals. But the price of the packs with crafting metals is $16.50, which is an outrageous amount to end up getting a sticker. I'm honestly getting sick of all these milestone events because there's some pretty cool skins in these events, but you can't craft any of them and you can only buy packs and hope to God that you get what you want. If you want this Peacekeeper skin in the event, you could open one pack for $1 as it's your first pack and you get them discounted and get it. Or you can literally open all of your packs, get the Heirloom recolor, get the Hemlock skin, and literally everything else except for the Peacekeeper skin, and end up paying upwards of $200 for one gun skin. They sort of fixed this by allowing you to purchase the legendary legend skins in the store, but that's it. Everything else is locked behind a gambling paywall, and I'm tired of it, and I know a lot of other people are too. Another thing related to events I wanted to talk about are heirlooms. Heirlooms are a pretty unique cosmetic to this game. Every time you open a regular Apex pack, epic packs, legendary packs, or any type of pack that isn't event specific, it counts towards a counter that, after opening 500, you earn heirloom shards, which you can then spend on a unique melee skin for your characters. I personally have 2 for my mains Pathfinder and Watson, but my gripe with them comes from the universal heirlooms they've been creating. Back in Season 19, we got the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth event, where they added the Buster Sword Universal Heirloom. This heirloom was designed with the idea in mind that it can be used with every legend in the game. From this one event over a year ago, they have created universal heirlooms ever since, and have yet to create anything original for any of the characters since the Buster Sword released. The last unique heirloom we got was Fuses back in Season 18, which released in August of 2023. That's over a year ago. Ever since then, we haven't seen another character-specific one that wasn't a recolor of the ones we already have. Since the Buster Sword released, we've also seen 3 more universal heirlooms: the Cobalt Catar, the Serpent Sting, and the Raptor's Claw. The Serpent Sting, by the way, I have to say is the worst heirloom in the game. This thing looks disgusting. The main gimmick with universal heirlooms is the fact that you can customize them to your liking with death boxes and physical changes to the blade itself, but this one doesn't have that. All you can do is unlock a kill tracker for it, which tops out at 5 and shows a crown on the top when you're kill leader. This thing's a disgrace of an heirloom, seriously. This thing should never have been made. In addition to the universal heirloom craze, they've also decided to recolor old heirlooms and re-release them in new events. The first one we got was Wraith's recolor, Hope's Dawn. Wraith's original heirloom was the first one on release. It came out when the game did. It had 1 inspect and I think 1 draw animation, and I think that was it. So when they recolored it, they also added a bunch of new animations to it, setting the standard for recolors and what they would do when they decided to recolor another heirloom. Well, after Wraiths, we got Revenant's recolor, Death's Grip, which also had some added animations, but not nearly as many as Wraiths, I don't believe. Now, Revenant's heirloom was released in Season 9, so it had a good amount of animations already, but they definitely added a lot more when they recolored it. Next, they decided to do Crypto's heirloom, which didn't get any new animations, I don't think. And they also just kind of released it into the store without an event, which is a little strange, but personally I believe they should do this more often, instead of dedicating a whole event to an already existing heirloom with a new color palette, like a new color layer in Photoshop. But anyway, we got Crypto's recolor, Darumi Blade, Octane's recolor, Octane's prototype, Bangalore's recolor, Emerald Edge, and most recently, Bloodhound's recolor, Winter's Bane. Honestly, I don't like any of these aside from the Darumi Blade. I think that all of them look genuinely gross, and the originals look so much better. My problem stems from the fact we're receiving recolors of heirlooms and not actually getting any new heirlooms either. Yet they market these recolors as if they're this brand new thing. I wouldn't be as upset if they just released actual heirlooms alongside the recolors of other heirlooms, because like I said, they're doing new animations for them, making them more in-depth, but they're not releasing any new ones. There are so many legends that deserve heirlooms right now, or have the player count to where they would sell like crazy, but they just don't. I mean, Newcastle got insanely buffed last season, Conduit got additional perks for being support, Maggie and Ballistic's pick rate is through the roof right now, but no, Bloodhound needs a recolor. But seriously, we're missing heirlooms for Mad Maggie, Newcastle, Vantage, Catalyst, Ballistic, Conduit, and Altar, but we get recolor after recolor after recolor. I was gonna talk about prestige skins, but they don't really bother me all too much. I think it's a waste of heirloom shards to get a skin that's okay looking when you're only gonna see the hands of it most of the time, where the heirloom you actually see when you're sprinting and whatnot, but do whatever with your shards. Oh boy, monetization gambling. It wouldn't be EA without gambling somehow. As previously mentioned, you can earn Apex packs in Apex Legends, in which you earn randomized loot that drops out of them. You can unlock them by leveling up your account level, your battle pass level, you can earn them through events sometimes, and you can just outright buy them if you really wanted to. Well, also as previously mentioned, you can earn heirloom shards from them. And just how many do you need to open in order to get them? 500. You need to open 500. So if you wanted to buy your way to one, that's $500, since each pack is 100 coins or $1. This has been a thing in Apex literally since launch, so it's pretty well known at this point. However, they have recently started to market their store like crazy, introducing these things called retro packs. Retro packs are packs where you can gamble for items from previous events like Dress to Kill, and previous battle passes. That's right, you can spend $5 on one pack to gamble for a random item from a previous battle pass. This is just obviously a way for EA to milk more money out of Apex, since it eliminates that FOMO or fear of missing out that comes with battle passes. Instead, if you miss something good in a battle pass, just buy it later with a retro pack. There's also constant sales in the shop with different skins and pack bundles and whatnot. They'll re-release old event skins bundled together with different items and price them at a quote-unquote reasonable price, so you're more likely to buy them. Like right now they have all this in the item shop, all the old anniversary skins bundled together. It's getting pretty annoying to just see old cosmetics re-released over and over and over again with no new stuff, but the stuff they do make looks like garbage. And lastly, the new currency, exotic shards. Exotic shards are a new microtransaction currency similar to Apex coins that you can spend to unlock new customizations for your universal heirlooms, or you can spend them in the exotic shop, where they recolor and re-release old battle pass reactive skins. Currently there's a recolor for the heavy metal and heatsink flatline called Overheat, a recolor for the cutting edge and revolutionary R99 skin called Mystic Coil, and a recolor of the Heart of the Divine and Heart of Brimstone EVA 8 called Draconis. Each skin is 50 exotic shards a piece, or about $40, which is insane for a single gun skin, and for universal heirlooms, it's 10 a piece for each portion of a set, except the Raptor's Claw, which is 20 per set. So walk with me here, let's do some math. To acquire 150 heirloom shards, you need to open 500 packs, and to open 500 packs with purchased Apex coins, you need to spend at minimum $440, because the $100 Apex coin bundle gives you 11,500, which is a 1,500 coin bonus. Buy that 4 times. And you need to buy the $40 bundle once, which gives you 4,350 or a 350 coin bonus. So just to buy the Qatar, you need to spend $440 on Apex coins. Now, in order to buy all the upgrades for the Qatar, you need to spend, again, at minimum, $180 on exotic shards. Since the $80 bundle gives you an extra 30, buy that twice and you get 220, which is still 20 short of the required amount, so you have to buy 2 $10 bundles and get 20 more exotic shards, giving you a total of 240. So once you've done all that, you've bought all your Apex coins and all your exotic shards, you purchased all your packs, opened all your packs, got your heirloom shards, purchased your Cobalt Qatar, you've purchased all the upgrades and all the cool things for it, you unlock another set for free. Yes, that's right, you earn a purple set for free. Amazing. So for the full price, if you were curious, it's $620. And that's just for the Qatar. If you want to do the same thing for the Karambit and the Serpent Sting, that's even more heirloom shards and even more exotic shards. That's probably why they've been deciding to go the universal heirloom approach, because they can make more money off of it since you have to buy the exotic shards to make it how you want. But it just sucks how obvious it is that EA has such a strong handhold on this game. The intense monetization is so blatant now that it's not even funny. The lack of creativity in these heirlooms is getting lower and lower each season. The guitar is cool because you can customize it in like 1,000 different combinations, but the serpent sting is so lame, boring, and gross, and the karambit, while smooth and looks nice, has only palette swaps and deathbox color changes. Nothing else. That's it. It's nothing special. Apex Legends from its early days has had good game modes for the community to play. In Season 2, they added solos. In Season 3, they added 2 of the best game modes ever, Shadowfall and Winter Express, for Halloween and Christmas respectively. However, as of late, it seems they haven't been making any new game modes and have only been re-releasing old modes or merging 2 game modes together to create some strange hybrid modes. We're going to go back to Season 21 so I can start with a few examples. In the beginning of Season 21, they added Solos Takeover, which reintroduced solos to the game, which had been heavily requested since it left in Season 2. This would have been a good decision, except for the fact that it was a takeover replacing duos for 2 months, forcing those in groups of 2 to either play alone in solos or go into fill matches with teammates. Sometimes you just want to play some matches with your friend and not have to rely on others who act like they were just pulled off the street and sat in front of a keyboard and mouse for the first time. Later down the line, we got the Double Take event, which introduced quads into the game, allowing for, as it sounds, 4 people to play at a time. Again, this would have been a good decision, except for the fact that it too replaced duos, yet again forcing those in groups of 2 to play either with 1 random teammate or 2 random teammates. It seriously doesn't make any sense to me why they would think that taking over an essential game mode to Apex was a good idea. I have no idea why they didn't just make it a separate game mode, allowing people to choose between solos, duos, and trios at the beginning of Season 21, and duos, trios, and quads during the Double Take event. They eventually added Trios Revival to replace quads after Season 21 ended, which was a faster-paced version of the main Trios mode. Trios Revival allowed teammates to respawn after a short timer if someone on your team was still alive. Doing damage, knocking players, and eliminating enemies would shorten the timer and get your teammates back into the fight faster. Just note that if you were eliminated past round 4, you were out. Respawns closed after round 3 ended. Now this game mode sounds good, however, there's one problem with this. We already had something like this back in Season 19 with the Post Malone event, 3 Strikes. 3 Strikes was a game mode that, like Revival, allowed teams to respawn up to 3 times. Once your team was fully eliminated, you'd redeploy from the sky and dive back down onto the map. They also introduced increased revive speed in order to get your teammates back into the fight faster. This game mode was so well received by the community, repeatedly coming back time and time again. Trios Revival felt like a slower paced version to me. When you died, you would have to wait with increased timers each time, and when you did respawn, you dropped out of a dropship and had to wait through the insanely long animation to finish before being able to control your dive, which in those precious seconds could mean the difference between your teammate dying and you being able to assist them and win the fight. In a game mode that's supposed to be more fast-paced than base Apex, why play such an insanely long animation when respawning? This made the game mode so annoying to me. They eventually gave Straight Shot the same treatment, merging it with Revival. They just took 2 modes and mashed them together and called it new. I mean, it was fun, but in no way was this new content. Later down the line, we got Knockout, a game mode where you and your team would compete against 19 other teams to fight and control points around the map, which gave your team points. If you had enough points, you would qualify for next round. If you did not make the point threshold, you'd be eliminated and knocked out. Get it, guys? Get it? No? Okay. Repeat until round 3, where you and 4 other teams would fight in sudden death. You'd be placed in the dropship and forced to drop into a small ring and fight until 1 team remained. This game mode was a decent breath of fresh air in terms of new game modes and content. I thoroughly enjoyed this game mode and had a lot of fun playing it. However, I have to remark that it feels remarkably similar to Control from Mixtape, just on Battle Royale maps. And I do have a few gripes with it, but the one I was most upset with was the fact that the respawn distance sucked. They did respawns right in the sense that they didn't put you in a dropship and you just immediately started gliding. However, they would respawn you 14 light years away from any points with like 30 seconds left. And if you were on the verge of making it into the next round, too bad, you were out. Repeatedly, we'd be on a point, get killed, knocked out of the qualifying section, and try to push back to the same point or a new point so we could get back into the qualifying round and keep playing. But you would respawn 450 meters away from the closest point and had 20 seconds to get there. so you're just screwed. Next up, we got the Techno Terror event, which I'm not going to talk about for very long because the event was so boring. It was Tricks and Treat Trios Revivals, which was just Tricks and Treat Trios from before, but added revivals. Tricks and Treat Trios was a sad excuse for a Halloween mode, adding copycat kits and candy which helped build your Evo points. Shadowfall was much better anyway. Just bring back Shadowfall. Lastly, we have Launch Royale. Launch Royale is a recreation of Apex's launch with original Kings Canyon, all the original gun stats and attachments, only the original characters plus Watson and Octane, and all their original abilities. Again, cool in concept. However, this in my opinion was not very good, and I'm going to compare it to the exact thing it copied from, Fortnite Season OG. Fortnite OG was a month-long period in 2023 where they turned back the clock and gave us the original map and the original guns from the first chapter of Fortnite. The difference between Fortnite OG and Apex OG is the fact that Apex still has everything when Apex launched. We still have Kings Canyon. We still have all the guns. We still have all the characters. Sure, they may do different damage or abilities last a little longer, but they're still there. Apex built off of what it had. Fortnite wiped the slate clean and started over with Chapter 2. New map altogether, no traveling back to the old one, new guns with different models and different sounds from the old one. And they would do this chapter after chapter after chapter. That's why it felt so good to go back, was because Fortnite didn't evolve with what it had. It didn't just keep going with the original map. It wiped the slate clean and created brand new things. Apex still has everything from the beginning of the game. Honestly, Launch Royale just made me realize how much better the game is now than it was in 2019. It honestly just gets on my nerves how little they try with events these days. Game modes and stuff for the players to do has felt so boring. They're introducing some more new game modes with the new creator takeover stuff for this season, but honestly, I don't know how to feel about them. One of them's just Rift Relics again, which I'll get to a little later, but still, we're just getting the Rift Relics from last season over again. Like, how is this new game modes? Another one is 3 strikes with random legends, which sure, it's gonna be interesting because it's random legends, but it's still just 3 strikes. We're also getting solos again. It doesn't feel like we're getting anything new anymore, and I wish they would just come up with some more new things for us to do, because this is honestly getting old. Apex Legends over the years has seen countless meta shifts, whether it be legends or guns, this game has experienced it all. I want to initially discuss the insane decision by Respawn to buff the crap out of support legends in Season 23. Respawn decided to give the support class a new coat of paint and make them more support-ish, I guess. Keep in mind beforehand, all supports could do was open those blue extended supply bins and also craft ally banners at replicators. That was it. With the introduction of Season 23, they decided to make it so all legends could craft teammate banners at replicators, so it was no longer exclusive to the support class. They also decided to make it so the support class could also revive legends at an increased speed, making every single character revive at 5 seconds instead of the regular 7. And let's not forget that this also applies to legends that already have strong revives like Lifeline and Newcastle. In addition to this, they also made it so support legends, when reviving somebody, or when they were revived, get health regen up to full. And if this wasn't enough of a buff, they also decided to add another passive to all the support legends that lets them gain double use from shields and syringes and walk at full speed while using them. What drugs was Respawn smoking when they thought of this? Like, seriously, what did they think was gonna happen? They also decided to rework Lifeline this season, which I've already talked about, but what I didn't talk about was how they also gave Newcastle insane changes on top of those class passive changes. They made it so his mobile shield was invincible and couldn't be broken. They increased the HP on his knockdown shields when he's reviving somebody, and they increased the health on his ultimate. Like, what? They have since nerfed both Lifeline and Newcastle, bringing down the HP on the knockdown shields and making his mobile shield breakable again, and they also removed the 5-second revive from Lifeline as a balance to her remote revive. But they also decided to counter this by buffing Loba with the most insane buff of all time, turning her from the worst support legend and arguably one of the worst legends in the game to the best at that time. Her pick rate has since come down as the new season came in with all the assault class changes. Her pick rate now is sitting at about 5.7%, but in the upper ranks, she's really high, sitting at 18% in platinum lobbies, 21% in diamond lobbies, and 27% for Masters and Predator lobbies. It's still a little early to really give you a full perspective on how picked she is because Season 24 just launched a few days ago, but this gives you a general idea of how strong they made her. She lands with her ultimate at 50%, allows you to grab teammate banners without taking up slots in her ultimate, she can open vaults without keycards, can take loot from explosive holds using her ultimate, remove the delay before the usage of her ultimate, small meds no longer take a usage slot, 2 tactical charges, reduce the tactical time, her perks, speed boost and faster weapon draw after using her tactical, regen 50 shield after teleporting, free gold bags. How much stuff did we have to give this woman? My lord, Respawn! But by all means, nerf Pathfinder, why don't you? Because that was his issue, right? His grapple is what made him broken, not the fact that you could get his zipline every 12 seconds. Jesus, man. Make Pathfinder great again. Mirage is now in the strongest state he's ever been, allowing him to go invisible while medding, and having insane perks that allow him to access all class passives, no Evo gains unless you have a member of that class on your team, and allowing for decoys to scan enemies like Bloodhound can. What are we doing, Respawn? Weapons have also been really overly changed, and we've seen some ridiculous changes over the last year. Remember when I said that Apex has seen countless meta shifts and how this game has experienced it all? I remember back when people were raving about how strong the Hemlock was, back in like Season 5, 6, or 7. Back then, if you told me that in a few years' time, you could grab 2 Mozambiques and they'd be the strongest thing in the entire game, I would have laughed at you and then burned you at the stake for having the gall to say something so absurd. But lo and behold, 4 years later, dual Mozams and P20s were introduced, and they were the most broken things ever. I truly think they didn't think they would see the usage they did because they were the Mozams and nobody used them. But when you give them 6 shots, double it, allow the ability for them to hold shotgun bolts, and then keep hammer points in the game, it's literally a recipe for disaster. Sometimes I think Foresight is too far up the skill tree for this development team. These things were in every game. Every player had these things, and if you didn't, it was impossible to win. You needed to carry the Mozams because of how strong they were. But all it took was taking away 2 shots and nerfing the spread and the fire rate slightly, and they fell out of usage entirely. The Nemesis was also a monster of a weapon that they did practically nothing with. They never nerfed this thing ever. It entered the crafter once when that was still a thing, and that was it. This thing was, and still is, an absolute monster of a weapon and shreds through anybody you aim it at. It does 18 damage per shot in bursts of 4 and ramps up by just firing it. Not landing shots, just firing it. They also decided to add an integrated hop-up that increases your Evo gains by hitting enemies and grants you 30% of your ult charge when knocking an opponent. 30%. This same hop-up is also on the car and the G7. The G7 was already in such a strong spot with its great damage and magazine size, but then they decided to put this on it. Why of all guns did you decide to put accelerator on the Nemesis and the G7? Why not the 30-30? This thing has seen almost no usage besides the 4 people who still believe that this thing is amazing because Winchester go flicky flicky. This gun sucks. Give it something that actually validates picking it up over the triple take or G7. Speaking of overpowered weapons, I was going to do a full segment on Rift Relics, but seeing as they're not in the game anymore and are only coming back as a limited time mode, I'm just going to give you my most immediate answer. I hated the fact that these things were in pubs, truly. This should have been its own game mode and not interfered with the regular modes. The fact that we had the most overpowered version of the Mastiff running around for weeks on end was truly infuriating. Other than that, they were pretty fun. I did enjoy using them. They did spice up a lot combat-wise and movement-wise, looking at you EPG. But yeah, they should have been in their own game mode. I also hated the fact that because these were in the game, it locked you out of getting damage badges and kill badges. My friend and I had to play ranked in order to just get a regular experience with the game. Other than that, they were fun. Maps in Apex specifically make or break your playing experience. They play the most pivotal roles in how your matches go. They shape who you pick, where you land, they change how you fight, how you rotate, what guns you use, or what loot you find. They change everything. I've played this game since the start and have had time to play on each map, and I'm going to go through each one and talk about it. Kings Canyon in its current state is nothing amazing, but it's not horrible either. For pubs, it can be fun, hot dropping into containment, labs, relic / Skulltown. Map rooms, swamps, airbase, runoff, and rig go kinda unnoticed compared to the rest of the map. Caustic treatment is a pretty decent spot, so is repulsor, spotted lakes, artillery, and crash site. Bunker is pretty fun sometimes and annoying others. Basin is a fun spot in my opinion. My large issue with this map is the river running through the middle. It is an entire uphill battle if you get caught in the middle there. And if you're on one of the sides, you maybe get a house to give you cover. Capacitor has the same issue. It's one giant bowl that if you dare step into it, basically entraps you and you get swarmed by 14 other teams. I don't know. This map is pretty special to me because of how much I've played on it, but I can't deny its flaws. Ranked on this map can be tricky due to its size. I think it isn't suitable for it all too well. It feels too cramped at times, and it doesn't feel like it provides enough loot in some locations, or just not good enough loot in general. World's Edge is by far, if not the best map in my opinion. They created locations like Fragment and Monument which are amazing to fight in. It's this game's Tilted, and there's no denying that. Skyhook feels the same yet different to fight in, given that it's the same layout as City, but it's also in a different area, so it feels different yet the same. I love it. Staging and Countdown are some decent spots too, with those bridges offering some interesting fights. Lava Siphon is also an amazing spot to fight in. Big Mod is also a top tier spot. Mirage Voyage is always fun to land at. Trials is interesting. I don't think I've landed there in a while, to be entirely honest. Tree, Epicenter, Climatizer, Launch Site, Thermal Station, and Geyser are also fun spots. Harvester is a spot I personally don't like. I don't like fighting in it or rotating near it. Lava City and Lava Fissure can be iffy at times, but Dome and Landslide are not it for me. I miss Train Yard. We used to sit there all the time on one of those trains, put down caustic traps and Watson fences and just wait. They would fall into it like flies and we'd have the time of our lives. Anyway, this map is one of the best for ranked. It is amazing to play on. The fights feel dynamic and rotating isn't too much of an issue. The caves being massive choke points sometimes can ruin a game if you're not careful. Most of the spots offer decent fights to start with, good loot, and good rotating options as well. Solid map, and I will continue to love this map until they dump lava on it again or blow it up like they do every time they try and change a map. Olympus is another map that feels pretty fun in pubs, but not really for ranked in my opinion. Estates, Bonsai, Oasis, Gardens, and Clinic are all really fun spots to land and fight in. Even Grow Towers I have fun fighting in, but that feels more like a guilty pleasure. I just like the Grow Towers. But places like Rift, Energy Depot, Terminal, Icarus, Carrier, Fight Night, Power Grid, they are all so lackluster. I really don't like fighting in any of these spots. If I can, I just avoid it. In ranked, it's not fun either. This map lacks a lot of cover in a lot of places, not really allowing for good movement between locations. Other areas like Hydroponics, Elysium, Orbital Cannon, Docks, Phase Driver, Solar Array aren't terrible, but they aren't great either. Pretty middle of the road when it comes to locations in my opinion. The tridents are another thing that makes the map kind of eh. Tridents are supposed to be this good rotational tool that gets you from place to place super quick. However, you put them on the smallest map in the game and then made them super loud and damage everybody when you shoot them. So ultimately you just become this large magnet for Evo farming and this loud machine flying through Hammond. But you couldn't have just walked or used some other form of mobility or something? Something that doesn't have to be as loud as rockets screaming in Guardians 3? Stormpoint got a massive facelift in Season 19, and honestly, it was a huge improvement. I used to hate this map before they changed it. I thought it was too open, had too much of that stupid wildlife, the location sucked, everything. Now, I've done a complete 180. This competes with World's Edge as my favorite map now. Pylon, Stormcatcher, Devastated Coast, Lightning Rod, Wall, Zoo Station, Down Beast, Mill are all amazing spots to land and fight in. Once they removed Jurassic Park in the middle, I could not have been more joyous. I'm not a fan of Barometer, but to each their own. Pseudo Station was put in. It filled in such a necessary gap in cover and is such an improvement. I still get annoyed because it seems like a team is always there when we try to rotate through it, but layout wise I don't mind it. I like Zeus Station, so I like Pseudo Station. They're the same. Echo HQ's okay, same with the two launch pads, Launchpad and Northpad. Cenote lacks good loot and has pretty poor positioning. Cascades is awful to fight in and I hate it every time we get stuck there. Same with Checkpoint, I hate Checkpoint. But ranked wise, wise, this map is amazing. So much cover you could use, so long as you're not in the middle of the water. Tridents to rotate on such a large map makes sense. Still loud and damage magnets, but this map is massive, so it makes a lot more sense to have them here. Gravity cannons are also fun to use and work well on this map. Overall, this map and World's Edge are amazing to play on, and I find myself checking the Apex status website just to see when this map comes back so I can play it again. Which sucks because we're going from such a high to such a low. Broken Moon is my least favorite map in this entire game. Core is pretty okay. It feels like Harvester from World's Edge, which I don't like. Terraformer is pretty okay. It's about the only place with reputable action along with Quarantine Zone, which feels like a pretty garbage attempt at trying to replicate City into Broken Moon. Bionomics, Cultivation, and Eternal Gardens all feel the same. Hazmat Tunnel, Cliffside, Alpha Base, Dry Gulch, Underpass, Experimental Labs, Solar Pods, and Status Array are all so mediocre or bad that they do not deserve names. Production Yard, Foundry, and Breaker Wharf all feel the same as well. The only good spots on Broken Moon, and I say good with quotations, is Atmos Station, Terraformer, Quarantine Zone, and Core. And just because you get action there, and that's it. There's no fights anywhere else on this map. There are so many mountains and tunnels and caves you are supposed to navigate through to rotate, and it creates 84 quintillion choke points. This map is also ginormous and doesn't provide any form of good mobility other than the zip rails, and those are so lackluster, it's ridiculous. It feels like a slower and more underwhelming version of Disney's monorail.
Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
If this map is in the rotation for maps for ranked, I genuinely just don't play ranked on those days, because I will lose my sanity trying to play on this map and go anywhere RP wise. It doesn't matter if I'm in bronze or diamond, I refuse to play Broken Moon. I won't do it. E-District. This is the latest map, and it's definitely a mixed bag. Let me start by saying the theming of this map is amazing. I love the look of E-District. Energy Bank is fun for combat, so is Neon Square. I don't really land anywhere else for immediate combat. Blossom Drive, Street Market, Shipyard Arcade, Lotus, Resort, City Hall are all amazing spots personally. Boardwalk is pretty bad when it comes down to it. Heights is okay, Stadium is okay, so is Old Town, Humbert Labs, Galleria, and Electrodam. The only few spots I can say I don't like is Boardwalk, Viaduct, and Draft Point. They don't feel like named locations, to be honest. They feel like unnamed locations that got names because they didn't have enough named locations on the map, like Tomato Town was back in the first chapter of Fortnite before it was Tomato Temple. Loot is pretty decent here. Rarely do I find myself wishing I found more stuff. Mobility is a little lackluster in my opinion. There isn't anything to get you around the map. Personally, I think zip rails would be great for mobility within named locations, and then tridents would also be amazing here given the city theming. But that's just me. Ranked wise, it's still a little too early to tell personally. I haven't played on it too much in ranked, so I can't give you a really precise take. Okay, so the new season, Season 24, is here, and Respawn has changed a lot. I thought since I'm going over everything, might as well give you my opinion on the new changes and let you all know how I feel about them. Ash and Ballistic have received a bunch of new changes, along with the entire Assault class, but I'll get to that part later. Ash has received changes to her snare and her phase breach. Her snare now snares enemy on the strong edge of her tether more often, allowing for better snare plays. And her phase breach has received a number of improvements, those being further range, better endpoint detection, and a new perk that allows you to use 2 of them. She also has received a new passive. Replacing her old Deathbox scan passive is now a new passive called Predator's Pursuit, which gives Ash an omnidirectional short-range dash on a 5-second cooldown, and it can be upgraded to 2 of them through a level 3 perk. Ash definitely needed some love. Her kit felt all over the place and not really useful in combat. She's definitely more useful to the team with a more reliable ultimate and tactical. Her passive is a lot better than her old one. I will miss the data knife though. Sad to see that that's gone. Her dash opens the door for so much movement wise, and it really makes her feel different overall despite changing so little. Ballistic also saw some changes. The perk to upgrade his sling weapon with his Evo level is now integrated into his kit, and also was given a second Whistler and buffed its damage on ground to match the damage on hit to 20. His ultimate, Tempest, now grants a speed boost to himself and his allies. Ballistic Sling can now carry care package weapons and will grant infinite ammo when you're using your ult with it. He has some new perks, one of which being a 15-second upgrade to his ult, and another being Quiet Time, silencing the opponent when hit with the Whistler for 6 seconds. In addition to this, he has kept the extra bullet perk, allowing him to double his tac charges from 2 to 4. Like Ash, Ballistic has not seen a lot of love as of late, and really needed it desperately. I think the idea of an old dog joining the games was interesting, especially one that was well versed in weapons in general and one specifically versed in the Apex format, having competed in the Thunderdome. However, he was really lame and didn't add much to the game, but it is nice to see him getting buffed this season, as he really needed it. I haven't played him yet this season, so I can't give you my thoughts on him yet, but from what this guy has said, he's pretty fun. They've also decided to buff Assault Legends a lot like they did Support last season. Fine, I guess. They were lacking some, but whatever. They added Combat Reserve, which just integrates the old perks into one, along with adding 2 inventory slots specifically for grenades, or 4 if you're playing Fuse. They also added Stowed Reload, which reloads your gun after 2 seconds if it's not equipped. They also changed the gold magazines to reflect this. Lastly, they added Battle Surge, giving the Legends a 4-second burst of speed, faster weapon reloads, and highlights the target for the entire enemy team to see, just after cracking an opponent's shield. So, in games that are more fast-paced and up close, it is insanely strong. I played a game as Ashe and had the Ballistic Ultimate and Battle Surge and another movement buff from the Hornet R301 in the event, I'll get to that eventually, and was genuinely uncontrollable. I was moving so quickly. This again feels like an insane dial-up for the Legends, especially on some that didn't need them like Maggie and Bangalore. Both of these Legends were really high in pick rates and didn't need a buff in my opinion. I think they may have overdid it with these changes. They've also decided to do a bunch of changes regarding leveling armor and meds this season. They removed helmets aside from the gold one, which now automatically gives you 100 shield and now has the perk to double your small meds, which has now been removed from the support class as a passive, and added the red helmet, which gives you red armor automatically and can only be found in care packages and the mythic bin. They've also decided to decrease the headshot damage for almost every single gun in the game, making headshots not as strong. However, they also decided to increase the base damage for almost all the guns in the game, and if that wasn't enough, they removed red shields from base leveling, so it is only available from the new helmets. You cannot get red by leveling anymore. This leads to the time to kill, or TTK, being way lower, which personally, I don't like. This makes fights last mere seconds, and you could be realistically dead before you even had the opportunity to do anything about it. This season honestly feels like Warzone, and I'm not for it. Once you get into a fight and one person goes down, it's over. There is almost no recovering. Guns shred through you like butter, melting through almost anyone at breakneck pace. If you have to cross an almost entirely open section of land to get to ring, and you get caught by another team, say goodbye, because you are boned at that point. Respawn has claimed this is to help with third-partying, but from what I've personally experienced playing this season, nothing has changed in regards to that, other than the fact that you are now getting melted through faster by 2 teams with R9s instead of 3 teams with cars. Call me bad, call me trash, whatever you want to say, go ahead, because I will stand on this. This is worse than what they did when they decided to bring down all shields by a grade in Season 6. Those were dark times, and honestly, this is worse. 90% of the game you are at blue, because they also decided to increase the amount of Evo it takes to get to purple, and now purple is max. The overall health pool is lower, and guns do more damage, and helmets don't mitigate headshot damage anymore. So overall, more damage is being done, so you die incredibly quick. I pray that Respawn reverts this and brings back red shields to Evo leveling, brings back helmets, and lowers the damage numbers back to where they were. I don't know how long I can keep playing if I just get instantly melted the moment I engage a fight. They also made a large amount of changes to healing. Shield cells and syringes can now stack up to 6, and you start with 4 rather than 2. They decreased the amount of time it takes to use both, with shield cells now taking 2.5 instead of 3 seconds, and syringes now taking 4 instead of 5 seconds to use. They also increased the knocked crawling speed by about 86%. These changes are fine. Some are barely noticeable unless you're paying attention, like the shield cells. I mean, it's nice, but it doesn't do anything to combat the TTK issue, since you die before one shield cell can be used anyway. They also added a new station called Arsenals. Arsenals are new stations at each POI on all maps, marked with ammo types. Each one will be in the same spot every round, but the ammo type will change every game. They have each weapon of that ammo type at them, allowing you to grab any weapon of that ammo type as soon as you land. This removes the constant search for a gun you want to use, instead allowing you to just ping a spot with an arsenal of that ammo type, drop in, and grab it. Simple. They also allow you to enhance the weapon at them, providing you with a mid-tier attachment and an optic if you don't have one. I initially thought that this was going to be game-breaking and annoying, but in reality, they're not that bad. They just eliminate the intense search for a gun you want. If you want a nemesis and there's an energy arsenal, it'll have a nemesis. The location you are looting probably has one lying on the ground anyway, it just makes looting a little easier. It does provide ammo, but it's so little that it doesn't really let you just grab it and start killing everybody. It's truly just to get you the gun you want, an optic, and an attachment, and that's truly it. Decent change, it doesn't bother me like some other changes do. Lastly, there's going to be multiple events throughout the season, and we have our first one going on right now. Mythic Mayhem Royale is a takeover mode that introduces Rampart's care packages alongside the regular ones that contain 3 unique variants of the R301, which also features the new R301 Mythic skin, available in the new Anniversary Milestone event. Yay, another milestone event, woohoo. Anyway, the 3 variants are Vermilion, increased critical damage and drops a thermite grenade when knocking an opponent. Hornet, faster movement and reload speed, grants tactical charge on shield crack and ult charge on knocks. And Limelight, damage dealt gives squad heals to you and any teammate within an outlined radius around you. This comes, as I said earlier, in a new milestone event featuring 12 new cosmetics for the event and 16 returning old anniversary cosmetics, 3 garbage legendary emotes, 2 sets of 10 exotic shards, and a legendary banner frame, clogging up the loot pool for the new mythic R301 and a chance at heirloom shards. Spectacular job, Respawn. Instead of making an event with new stuff, let's just stuff it with old stuff to make people pay more for the new mythic item, right? Because that's what the community wants, right? More stuff shoved down our throats for us to buy. Yeah, that's what the community wants, Respawn. Garbage emotes and skins you've already sold inside of an event with a new mythic item again. Other than the garbage rewards in the event itself, the prize tracker features banner frames, stickers, and tracker art all designed by the community themselves, and this is the highlight of the event. The community made stuff is what makes the events good. I wish they would do more community stuff more often, instead of making us wait until the game's anniversary to see actual talent get put into this game. They also added spotlight passes, 20 level mini battle passes for each individual character. Each one costs $10, which is more than the actual battle pass and gives you less than the actual battle pass does. They give you a legendary gun skin pack and a legendary skin pack for the character you bought the pass for. They also capped you for one of them per season for some reason, so I have no clue why you'd buy this one at all. At the end of the day, I love playing Apex Legends. Like I said in the beginning, this game has been my go-to since I got my PlayStation basically, and this game is slowly dying because of awful management by EA and poor developmental decisions by Respawn themselves. EA is 95% responsible for the downfall of this game due to the incessant obsession with monetization and forcing people to pay for this game on a regular basis. They 100% forced Respawn to make new cosmetics for people to buy and spend hundreds of dollars on. This new R301 Mythic is cool, but it is not worth $500. Not in the slightest. If you aren't playing Wraith, it has one inspect, some new sounds, and a few new animations, a knock effect you don't even notice, and that's really it. This thing is not worth the price tag at all. It's like looking at a Chrysler Pacifica with a price tag of $450,000. Sure, it has a backup camera and automatic sliding doors. It's not worth $500,000. Looking back, we should have known this was going to happen, since it's published by the same people who put out the same NFL game every year, the same soccer game every year, the same NHL game, the same Formula 1 game, and the same UFC game, year in and year out. But the other 5% comes from Respawn themselves. There is no way on God's green earth that they thought that buffing the entire support class to the likes of which we've never seen before wouldn't have caused what happened. They had to know and still didn't care. The changes with Evo shields only going to 3, taking out helmets, and increasing damage of literally everything is not the solution to third parties. It is the solution of how to get me to put a hole in the wall. They seem to have figured that one out now, haven't they? The community itself is at an all-time low too. The division between the console community and the PC community is so bad, genuine insults get thrown around because people decided to play the game on a controller instead of a keyboard. People on the keyboard side claim that people who play on controller are garbage because they use aim assist to play, which is actually just soft aim hacks. And people on the controller side talk about how the keyboard warriors need their pressure precious tap strafes and how they cry whenever they nerf tap strafes. How about you both just shut up and stop yelling at each other about which is the best way to play the game, instead of yelling at each other about how aim assist is for sissies who can't aim and tap strafe is for crybabies who beg Respawn to change things. Talk about ways you wish the game could be improved without resorting to insults. You guys act like children. I'm really getting sick of seeing all the arguing about how keyboard is better or how controller is better. I really want this game to flourish again, when the community wasn't as hostile as Chernobyl, when the game was fun to play with meaningful changes and additions, and not 40,000 microtransaction offers. But I just don't see that reality happening anymore. This game is going downhill, and unfortunately, they aren't doing anything to stop it now. Constant poor decision making by the development teams and too much of a focus on monetization and gambling have killed this game to such a point I don't know if recovery is even an option, but one can only hope. Thank you all so much for watching to the end of the video. I really appreciate those of you who stuck around. I want to thank all of you for supporting the Dustborn video and blowing that video up to the extent that it did. I have never had a video reach that level of attention. I don't think if you added up all the views on all my other videos, even the ones that are unlisted, it would even reach that number. So thank you. I would ask that you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you have any other games you think I should review or go over, please leave them in the comments. Or if you have anything you'd like to say, go ahead and comment. I read almost all the comments on the Dustborn video and replied to a lot of them, so I'm pretty sure I'll do the same for this one. I do have a Twitch, so if you want to follow me there, I stream very occasionally, but if you want to see me stream more, you can leave it in the comments. But I think that's about it. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.